Hello everyone, time for another Yu-Gi-Oh video, this time on my Galaxy-Eyes Photon variant deck. So, Galaxy-Eyes was one of my favorite designs of all times based on Ace Monsters, so I just had to build the deck, and now with all the reprints all that, I finally got the motivation to actually finally build the deck. Took a while, and I would say I had a lot of fun with it. So how this deck works is you mainly spam your rank 8s and just play mostly offensive. You don't really play defensive in this deck, and that's how this deck is kind of built. So no more wasting time, and let's get started with the deck profile. But of course, the main deck monsters with our obvious front card where you usually have to run 3 of, which I still do, the Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon. So keep in mind, it's a 3000 attack with 2500 defense, so you can use a Melody of Awakening Dragons in this deck, so I'm just giving that right now. And also, with the new cards from Legendary Duelist Season 2, you have another target. I'll just show that later. But Galaxy-Eyes is your main ace monster, so you have to run 3. You have a lot of cards that revolve around searching this card and special summoning this card and giving extra effects. So you really need to get this as soon as you can for your plays usually. And its effect, where you're not really going to use it as much now other than for just plays. You can tribute 2,000 or more attack monsters to special summon this card from your hand, which you will do sometimes just to have a level 8 on the field. But second effect, which will sometimes be useful, is when it battles a monster, you can banish this card along with that monster. At the end of the battle phase, special summon both monsters back. This can actually be very helpful against those decks that have a ace monster that says cannot be targeted or cannot be destroyed by card effects. So you could just literally just use this card to remove it. And this doesn't target, and that's the best part. But if that monster happened to be an Exceed monster, this gets 500 attack points for every Exceed material it had before when it got during the time it got banished. So, of course, Galaxy-Eyes' playstyle also revolves around being anti-Exceed. So there's that too, but the main part is usually the part where it special summons, and the banish effect can be very useful as well, just to clear some boards, because theirs cannot be destroyed by battle sometimes, so that's the thing. Next, we got the new card, which took a while, from more legendary gold box cards that are finally coming to the TCG, Galaxy-Eyes Afterglow Dragon. You only run 2 for good reasons, because first off, its first effect is you can special summon this card from your hand if you control a Galaxy-Eyes monster, which you do have Soul Flare Dragon, which is Galaxy-Eyes, but it's not going to do anything unless you have like a level 8 Galaxy-Eyes, so that's one of the reasons why you could just run 2 of these. If this card is detached as material, you can special summon 1 Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, that's why you run 3 of those, from your deck and special summon it or put it as material. Usually you special summon it because of course that explains your plays, but if this card happens to be detached during the battle phase, you can double all current Galaxy-Eyes Exceed monsters attack, which if you do it with Prime Photon, it will be at least 11,200. Yeah, if it's with Tachyon, it will be 6,000, but hey, this card can help you beat over things. It extends plays, which is why you run this. But you don't run 3 because you need a very specific monster to make it really good. And then I play the Galaxy Knight, because Galaxy Knight can help you extend plays. It can normal summon itself. That's the only main problem, it's that it normal summons itself. If you control a Galaxy or Photon monster on the field, and then you can special summon a Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon from your graveyard, which of course will be very likely. The only main problem, of course, like I said, is that it has to be normal summoned to get this effect off, to get your play, and that's why you don't really run many copies of those. And finally, for my last level 8, I run Galaxy Brave. So Galaxy Brave, you can special summon this card by removing 1 Photon monster from your hand, and special summon it, and then this card takes that monster's level. And then when this card is no more special summon, you can target 1 Galaxy monster from your graveyard, and it gains attack points equal to that monster. So this card is not too hard to summon, but usually it's in early game, because in late game you do have some problems with having another monster in your hand, and usually you're going to be low on hand on that point. So that's one problem, but you mainly use this for extending plays usually. But the attack gain is pretty nice sometimes too, because if you have like big ass monsters in your graveyard, which are pretty much all galaxies, you're gonna have this card's gonna have at least 3,000 attack and usually like 4,000 in some cases. But this can also help with rank 4 plays as well because it takes a Photon monster from your hand, and your only big level Photon is Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon. So, and the rest are gonna be level 4, so you can get your plays. So that's my level 8 lineup. And now for the other support lineup, I run the Galaxy Soldier because Galaxy Soldier can special summon itself by discarding a light monster, and then it searches at any Galaxy card you want. Well, Galaxy monster, which is what pretty much like anything that you need. So, and one thing I usually do sometimes is if I somehow will have Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon in my hand, I just discard it, get this, search for your Galaxy Knight, and then just normal summon the Galaxy Knight, get your Photon Dragon. There you go. So you do have plays with this. Also, the special summon effect is not once per turn, so you can go for a rank 5 play as well. And it's a machine too, so Cypher Dragon Nova for Cypher Dragon Infinity. To continue off, I play the 2 Photon Thrasher because level 4 special summon itself for obvious reasons. And then you play the 3 Photon Vanisher. It cannot be normal summon, so that's the downside about this card, but normally you just special summon a bunch of cards anyway. So this card can special summon this card as long as you have a Photon or Galaxy monster from your hand, which is very likely. And then when this card is summoned, you can search for your 1 Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon from your deck. And if this card is used as a seed material for a monster, that monster gains the effect where any monster that destroys a battle will be banished instead. But it's a rank 4, so it's not going to really do much, but it can be helpful sometimes. But the main part of its effect is the fact that it special summons itself, and the fact that it searches out a Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon. And of course you can just combo it with Photon Thrasher where you special summon Thrasher while you have no monsters, and then special summon this card, search for Galaxy-Eyes. You could do a rank 4 play, do a link 2 play, or do your tribute for Galaxy-Eyes, but you're not going to ever do that. I'm just telling you like that right now. But that's its usefulness. Next, this is a little weird one, but I still like to have the 2 Galaxy Cleric. This is one of my Excel-like targets for good reasons. It's a pot of avarice for Galaxy Photons, which is why I've just run it. And also it's a level 4, so it does have some usefulness with that. You could run Pot of Avarice instead, I'm just going to tell you that right now. But the fact that it's a monster can also be very helpful because of level 4. And normally I do use this as a link material by then as well, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. And also it could attach itself as material from your hand to an exceed monster you control, so you do have that, but very unlikely. I usually just use it for the fact that it's a Pot of Avarice for Galaxy Photons. And it's for any Galaxy Photon card, so including your spells. And for more play extension, I run Photon Dancer. If you control a Galaxy or Photon monster on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Keep in mind, its base attack is 1,000, but it does have an effect where it gains 1,000 attack during your turn. So it will become 2,000. So you will be able to make plays with it. And I just run this because it's the level 4 that can special summon itself, so obviously it will help extend plays. And then, of course, you run your 3 Photon Orbital because this card searches you any Galaxy Photon monsters from your deck. All you do is just equip. And also because this card has the effect where when equipped to a monster, that monster cannot be destroyed by battle and it gains 500 attack, which will be pretty helpful sometimes actually. There are some monsters in your deck that cannot be destroyed by card effects. So if you equip this monster to that, then it cannot be destroyed by anything. Of course, it can still be negated and all that, but the cannot be destroyed by anything card can be very helpful for some protection sometimes. And also the fact that you can send this card to the graveyard to search for anything is also very helpful. And finally, I played the 2 Galaxy Wizards. This card used to be a 3 of, but now it's been bumped down. You can play 1, it's not as useful. And the main problem is that it has to tribute itself to do your search. Because its effect is that you can tribute this card and search for any Galaxy card. That's the one thing that it does better than Galaxy Soldier. It's the fact that you can search any Galaxy card, including your spell cards. That's a good part. But the fact that you have to tribute it makes it very hindered. Especially because it has the second effect where it can make itself as level 8. That is of course very useful, but considering that now you have a bunch of level 8s that could just special summon itself and make your plays anyway, you don't really need that effect as much. I used it for the searching effect, and it's also another Excel-Light target because I could just draw Excel-Light sometimes and then summon this, get another Galaxy card. So it does have its uses. So that's it for the monster lineup. And now for the spells, you run the 3 Photon Sanctuaries. This is an instant Soul Flare Dragon. It special summons 2 tokens, but you are restricted to light monsters for the turn. Not like that matters because this is a light-based deck. And they're 2,000 attack each. So you fulfill your Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, which was this card was originally for, but this is an instant Soul Flare Dragon, so that's another part too. So it just has a lot of use. You could cut it down to 2 since you probably don't need to play that many, but it's just very useful, especially early game where you could just make a bunch of plays. Next, I run 2 Galaxy Expedition. So if you control a level 5 or higher Galaxy or Photon monster, you could special summon 1 Galaxy monster from your deck in defense. This is, of course, just extend plays, but you can only play one of these per turn, so that's another one. It requires you to control a high-level monster, which most of the time you will, but you don't really need to run 3. I'm just going to say that right now. You could run 3 since it's not hard to play, but sometimes you won't really be able to play it, and it can clog up your hand. So that's another thing, because you could just draw this as a dead card. But one thing you can do is, usually I would sometimes go for a Galaxy Soldier, get a Galaxy Wizard, get attributed self to get Galaxy Expedition, which Galaxy Expedition will get you another Galaxy Soldier, which will create Cypher Dragon Nova, which will create Cypher Dragon Infinity. So that's one thing that you can do as well. But of course, this extend plays, so of course you would run this. Up to you, you want to run 3. Next, Galaxy Zero. This just revives a Galaxy monster. It's a searchable Galaxy revival. That's the main reason why I just run it. You could just cut this out completely sometimes, but it does have its uses. And then the 1 Galaxy Trace. The main issue with this card is the fact that you have to pay 2,000 light points. That's mainly what's the main problem with this card. But in early game, this could make your plays. So what it does is that you pay 2,000 light points, target 1 Photon monster from your graveyard, special summon it, and along with 1 Galaxy monster from your deck with the same level. Both of them become 2,000 for obvious reasons. And then you can only activate one of these per turn, of course. And of course, usually this helps you make plays. You can search this out with Galaxy Wizard and then just like play it if you want. You could even just like draw this, and if you have enough life, then you could play it. So it does have its usefulness. It's just paid 2,000 life is really the big issue, but can help you make your plays is the big part. And like I said before, I run the 1 Excel Light because it has its usefulness, especially if you're just drawing it. And then I play Return of the Dragon Lords. So this is another revival card, of course. Special summons 1 level 7 or 8 dragon monster from your graveyard. You could play Monster Reborn if you don't want that restriction, but most of the time you're going to be only summoning those anyway. But I run this because it extends plays. Like I said before, you can run the Awakening of Dragons, which will search for 2 dragon monsters from your deck that are 3,000 attack with 2,500 defense. But this deck has a lot of searching, but not enough reviving, so I decided to run Return of the Dragon Lords. And this is way better than Galaxy Zero because Galaxy Zero makes it to 0 and it negates all its effect, while Return of the Dragon Lords doesn't do any of that. And it also gives us protection, so that's why I run it. Although the only downside is that not a Galaxy card. That's the main reason why I'm just running this at 2, just for some combat plays. And finally, I run the Reinforcements of the Army. Most of your main level 4 special summon engine is going to be Warriors, so Reinforcements of the Army. And then trade in, you have a bunch of level 8s, so of course you would want to discard them for some plays, for some consistency. And then for a trap, I run Tachyon Transmigration. You don't have to run this card, but this is just a negate for Galaxy cards, and it shuffles the card back to the deck so it doesn't go to the graveyard. So it does have its usefulness, and if you happen to have a Tachyon Dragon on the field, you can just activate this card from your hand. So you do have that option. But it's just a negate card. You could not run it if you want, but it does have its usefulness. So that's it for my main deck. Now to my extra deck. First off, for my only link monster, I run the Galaxy-Eyes Soul Flare Dragon. So first off, I would just cut one of these to run a Union Carrier, but unfortunately I don't have Union Carrier, so for now I have my 3rd Soul Flare Dragon. So its effect is when this card's link summon, you can return 1 Galaxy or Photon card from your graveyard to your hand, which is of course very likely because you're going to be using 2 link materials, unless you use Photon Sanctuary for it, but other than that, you will likely to be able to search something back. you can discard one Galaxy or Photon card and destroy one of your opponent's monster during your opponent's turn. That can be very useful sometimes, but usually the fact that you could return something is very helpful, and that's the main reason why I run this card. But of course, like I said, you should also probably take out like one of these for a Union Carrier, which I currently don't have, because Union Carrier can equip something for your deck, Photon Orbital. So you could use Photon Orbital's effect to destroy itself to search for any Galaxy Photon card that you want. So you do have that option, and the only card that restricts you from summoning like monsters is Photon Sanctuary, so as long as you don't really play that card, you're not going to have an issue summoning anything else. And now for my XC lineup, I'm going to start off to the small monsters, where I'm going to start off with Starleech Photon Blast Dragon. So first off, when this card's XC summon, you can special summon one Photon monster from your hand, which you can do some plays with that, of course, and it could be Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, which is searchable. And its second effect is that your monsters with more than 2,000 attack cannot be destroyed by card effects. That's really good right there. Now, the only thing is, this card has less than 2,000 attack, so this can be affected by all that. But, like I said before, cards that cannot be destroyed by card effects is a thing in this deck. So, what you can do is equip a Photon Orbital to this card, give this card an additional 500 attack, and it will now be over 2,000 attack, which will now make it cannot be destroyed by card effect, and thanks to Photon Orbital, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. So you do have that option. And then it also has a third effect where you can detach one material during your opponent's turn and special summon one Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon from your graveyard, which usually is very likely because you're going to be doing a lot of XC plays and then detaching materials, so it's very likely. But the fact that it has the protection and it can extend your playstyle in some cases is the main reason why you run this card, and it can be really good. To continue off, I run Starleech Lord Galaxion. So this just lets you special summon Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon from your deck or hand. From deck, you have to detach 2. From hand, you just detach 1. But exceed summoning this card is not hard because it just requires 2 level 4 photons, which it's your main special summon engine anyway, so you should be able to get this off no problem. And I do summon this quite often just to get the Galaxy-Eyes. And then, because of course, I run Galaxy Soldier, and it's not too hard to summon these. I do play the rank 5 engine with the Cypher Dragon Nova with Cypher Dragon Infinity because these are still very good. And now to the rank 8 cards. First off, let's go to the non-Galaxy-Eyes monster. This is still Galaxy, so you do have some good interactions with this card. But this card, number 38, Hope Harbinger of Dragon Titanic Galaxy, negates spells once per turn, is very nice. And can redirect targets, can also be very scary considering that it has 3,000 attack, so it has its usefulness. And then I play the Galaxy-Eyes Photon Lord. So, if you have a Photon monster as material, this card can also not be destroyed by card effects, which you will most likely have because Galaxy has Photon Dragon, which fits both Galaxy and Photon. If you equip Photon Orbital with it, it also cannot be destroyed by battle. So, you do have that. And then once per turn, you can, during your opponent's turn, that's the main downside of this card, is that you can search your deck for one Photon Galaxy card from your deck, so it has that. Also, once per turn, you can detach one material. If your opponent activates a card or effect, you can negate that effect. And if you happen to have a Photon card as material, you can destroy that card as well, aka if Galaxy has Photon Dragon. So this is usually if I go first play, because you're not going to be able to attack, so of course you want some protection. So I usually summon this card for that, and of course it also sets you up for the next turn. And then to continue moving up, we got Galaxy-Eyes Tachyon Dragon. So at the beginning of the battle phase that this card attacks, you can detach one material and then negate all effects currently on the field and put all attack points on monsters on the field to their original attack. And then if your opponent activates any card effects during the battle, you can make his second attack and this card gets additional 1,000 attack. So it does have its usefulness, and this kind of makes your opponent scared of playing hand trap. So if you're playing a hand trap heavy deck, this card has its usefulness. And if for some reason you don't really have a use for this card, you can always just summon one of your bigger Galaxy-Eyes monster by using this card as material. But it also enables Afterglow as well, because Afterglow, you could detach the Afterglow, double this card's attack, so it does have its usefulness right there as well. And then, of course, I play the Galaxy-Eyes Cipher Dragon because taking control of your opponent's monster for a turn is very good, especially if it's an Exceed monster because you can use it to summon your bigger Galaxy-Eyes monster or like more armored Galaxy-Eyes monster. And soon we're going to have Cypher Ex Dragon, so that will make it even better. And then to continue off, you go to Prime Photon Dragon. When it's in battle, you can detach a material. So if you do it with Afterglow, Afterglow's other effect will trigger to double its attack as well. It gains 200 attack for every total rank on the field, times 200. So this itself will make it 56 just by itself. If you use Afterglow, like I said, it will be 11,200 if you do it. So this just helps you run over monsters, of course. It also has a second effect where if destroyed by card effects, which is kind of likely, after 2 turns of the next standby phase, you can special summon this card with its attack double. Yeah, 2 turns can be kind of a problem because of the fact that your opponent will probably kill you beforehand. And then for your big boss monster, you play the Neo Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon. I just like to play this card personally because I just love Galaxy-Eyes and I just have to run even the big boss himself. So when this card is exceeded summoned by using Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, you can negate all effects that are currently on the field. So that effect is pretty strong. And although the downside is that you will have to use 3 level 8s, but it's a 4,500 attack. It also has a second effect where it's anti-exceed monsters, where you can detach 1 material, detach all exceed materials that are currently on the field. This card gets 500 attack for each one and can make the same number of attacks. Yeah, that's pretty good. But like I said, it's only anti-exceed mainly, but the effect negation can also be very helpful. And I just like to run it, okay? It's awesome. And now for your armored Galaxy monsters, I'm going to start off with Full Armor Dragon. You can use a Galaxy-Eyes Exceed monster as material for this card. So if you use Cypher Dragon and just take control one of their Exceed monster, you can just use this card to overlay on top of that card, thus stealing their monster completely and giving you a 4,000 attack beater. Yeah. And its effect is where you can detach 1 material to destroy 1 card on the field. Of course, that's helpful, but the main part I really like to combo with is with Cypher Dragon, where you take control of your opponent's monster, if it's an Exceed monster anyway, and then summon this on top of it. But soon we're going to have Cypher Ex Dragon as well, which will do something very similar. And finally, for my last Exceed monster, I run Cypher Blade Dragon. So Cypher Blade Dragon does pretty much the same thing like Full Armor Dragon. The only difference is that it has to be a rank 8 Galaxy monster, which normally I use my Cypher Dragon's ability, summon my Full Armor Photon, and then I use Cypher Blade's ability to summon this on top of Cypher Dragon. Sometimes even use it on top of Photon Lord, considering that Photon Lord will probably have no materials anymore in some cases. So its also main effect is pretty much the same thing as Full Armor Photon, where you can detach a material to destroy 1 card on the field. So it has that, but it has an additional effect where if this card is destroyed by your opponent, you can special summon the regular Cypher Dragon from your graveyard. So you do have that extra protection sometimes, or sometimes you can do a suicide and then summon back your Cypher Dragon. So you do have that. And if your Cypher Dragon happened to take a rank 8 Exceed monster from your opponent, you can just use that and summon this. So you do have that as well. So that's it for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is just all the updated stuff we got so far with the Legendary Duelist Season 2 with the Afterglow Dragon. And I will have to say I am very happy with this deck. Especially even without the Afterglow Dragon. It still made a lot of plays, but with the Afterglow Dragon, it made plays a lot faster. So I'm very happy with it. Very happy with this deck as well because I really like their designs. I mean, they're blue, badass dragons, okay? They're awesome. I have to play this deck. I am still waiting for the Cypher Ex Dragon, which is not going to really change much for the deck other than taking out 1 card from my extra deck. So let's just say that. So Cypher Ex Dragon basically does similar to Cypher Blade and Full Armor, where you can overlay on top of a Cypher Dragon monster. So you can actually just, with Galaxy-Eyes Cypher Dragon taking control of your opponent's monster, it'll become Galaxy-Eyes Cipher Dragon, and you can just overlay on top, even if it's not an Exceed monster. So that's one thing about Galaxy-Eyes Cipher Ex Dragon that you can do with that. So I am still waiting for that card. And also the fact that you can detach 2 materials to give all your light monsters protection for a turn. It can be helpful, but it also can, when it's destroyed, you can return 1 Galaxy-Eyes monster from your graveyard and then summon that on top of Galaxy-Eyes Cipher Ex Dragon. So still waiting for Cypher Ex Dragon. But other than that, it's not going to really do much changes, but I am waiting for it. But other than that, go ahead and tell me below what other suggestions that you can put for this deck. I did suggest the Awakening of the Dragons, but like I said, there's a lot of searching in this deck, so it might not be too necessary, and sometimes you do want those cards in your deck so you could actually special summon them. So that's why I chose not to run it. But other than that, if there's any other suggestions, go right ahead.